How's it going, gang? Paul with StudPack. Welcome back to the channel. In a previous video, you saw me and the gang build these customized shelves in Summer and Rad's garage, and it came out great. And we promised you that we're gonna show you how we build custom doors to cover all that. We're gonna have 6 massive doors. Each one's over 4 feet wide, 8 feet tall, 6 of them on 2 tracks so they bypass each other, and we're going to build it out of those 6 sheets of 1/4-inch plywood and this pile of 1x4s, and we got it all for like 260 bucks, right around $45 a door. And we're going to hang the doors on Unistrut. We're going to build our own track system because you can't buy anything for a 25-foot wide track. So there's our piece of Unistrut, boom, and we got these cool trolleys. We're going to show you all the details, and the doors are going to slide just like that. I had to do a bunch of math to get a cut list. All of this math right here, and there's my cut list. I need 18 of those and 12 of those. That's all our rails, and that's all our stiles for the doors. So it's time to start cutting. And as you can see behind me, check it out, a brand new M18 miter saw from our friends at Milwaukee. Absolutely love it. This thing's awesome. Of course, it's M18 dust collection. It's a sliding compound miter saw, bevels left and right, miters 45 degrees to the left, 60 degrees to the right, and it even has a light to show your cut line, so no more lining up on the pencil. I can't wait to start using it. We got it screwed down to the table. We got a temporary stop right here, so all our rails are exactly the same length. We're just gonna bump them up, cut them, 18 at 46 and 5/8. Let's get started. All set up to go. Got a 17-footer right here. Don't give me any shade for my outfeed support. It's all I got here at the job site. Now, casing comes in 17-footers. When I was a kid, it was 16-footers. Why the change? Because of 8-foot doors. If you try to cut a side leg out of a 16-footer on an 8-foot door, you can only get 1. But with a 17-footer, you can get 2 side jambs. So there was a lot of waste for trim carpenters with 16-foot casing and 8-foot doors. That's why the industry made the change, cut down on the waste. Little side story right there. I am ready to go. We're gonna cut off the factory edge, then bump against our stop, start cutting our 18 pieces. First cut with the saw. Nice. Guys, all done. The saw did fantastic. This is the model 2734-21. Did a great job, and I like that it's a 10-inch blade. It's the same size blade as my table saw, but I get more capacity out of this instead of my old 12-inch chop saw because it's a slider. Our next step on our doors, we're gonna use pocket screws to connect our rails to our stiles. We gotta do 72 pocket holes. I'm gonna get started on those, and Rad's gonna go grab us some lunch. Nice, Rad, perfect timing. Here's my last one. So quick review of my process. Got my vintage Kreg jig screwed down to the table. Brand new saw on one end, 30-year-old Kreg jig on the other. Solid aluminum. I give the board a quick look, find the worst side, put that against my fence, so the worst side's gonna be in the back where the holes are. I'm not measuring, I'm just lining up the board with the back of the jig here. Quick clamp, grab my drill. I'm hungry. Release, line up the other side, boom, and go. Everything's on my right. If this were on my left, I'd have to switch. All that time adds up. We are done. Oh, 2 more. I always forget the other end when I'm talking. All right, get the other end done. We're gonna break, have some lunch, come back, and build some massive doors. Ready to start building our doors. Now we're gonna pocket screw our corners together, no glue. Typically I would use glue, but with these doors, we're gonna staple the plywood on the back, and that is where our strength is gonna come from. So pocket screws come in all different shapes and flavors. Coarse thread for soft woods like the pine we're using here. Fine thread for harder woods like oak. And you can even get them coated for exterior use. We are gonna use these right here, 1.25 inches long. If we were to use a longer one, like 1.5 inches, this would poke through, because we're using thinner wood. Thinner wood, shorter screws. Thicker wood, longer screws. Always pays to have a long square drive bit in your drill, or a Robertson for our friends in Canada. Boom, that's all we need. Don't want to go too tight or you will strip it. All right, let's do this corner, build the door. Making great progress on our doors. We're putting in the middle style. So this is the bottom of the door, and this style could go anywhere, right? So we thought about putting it in the middle, but we thought that looked too symmetrical. So we literally just held our hands out like we're grabbing the door to move it and measured, and that was 40 inches off the ground, leaving a 1-inch gap so a ping pong ball won't go in there. Now we'll either grab the rail to move the door or probably put in a recessed pull for your fingers to move the door. So this one's ready. I'm gonna screw it in. And to make sure every door is the same, we cut a gauge stick so we never have to pull out a tape measure. All 6 doors are screwed together. We got a late start, but that was really simple to do, but it's the end of the day. We're gonna come back tomorrow, put the plywood backs on them, another easy step, and then tomorrow we're gonna start building our overhead track system. I've built a ton of stuff out of Unistrut, but I've always wanted to make a trolley system. Can't wait. It's the next day. We're continuing our door build. So we built all the frames yesterday, and today we're gonna put the plywood on, install our track, and hang the doors. But before we put the plywood on, we wanna show you a little problem we had yesterday. So we had 24 of these corners. On 3 of them, when we put this screw in, it split the wood right here along that grain. We tried to flip these over so the screw goes in the other way against the grain, but with this finger jointed lumber, it's impossible to get that to happen at both ends all the time. So what was happening, we'd clamp it, put the screws in, we'd hear it crack, and then when we took the clamp off, the wood would actually come apart. So what we did, we simply took the clamp off, put some glue in the crack, re-clamped it, put the screws in, and let the glue dry overnight. Now when we take the clamp off, it won't come apart. And you can see that crack right there. But now that that's all fixed up, let's grab our plywood, 1/4-inch plywood, and that's our panel. Just like that. We're gonna staple it around with some 5/8" crown staples. It's gonna be really easy, really fast. Let's get our doors finished. All right, attaching our plywood backs couldn't be any easier. I have my combination square set up to 2 3/4, and that is the distance from the edge of our frame to our plywood. And it is the same on the bottoms. That was all planned. Your mileage may vary. So a full sheet of plywood, didn't have to trim it at all. So I've already checked that corner, we're good to go. I'm gonna tack this side, hit this other corner so it doesn't move on me, using some 5/8" crown staples. And then I'm just using the length of the stapler to get my spacing. Now that this edge is locked down, we're gonna check diagonals and make sure it's perfectly square. Right there? Yeah. 114 7/8. Oh man, we nailed that one. 114 7/8. We're gonna mark the center of our middle stile. Give me something to follow. We've also got those 1x4s underneath, so we got some support, so we don't have a gap between our plywood and our frame. All right, let's flip it over, see what it looks like. Check it out.
Oh yeah.
Nice. And the beauty of it is you don't see any nails, any screws. We'll just probably run the sander over these joints just a little bit to flush them out. Ready for a coat of paint. We're gonna throw you into a TL and knock out the other 5. There's all 6 of our doors. Literally took us like 30 minutes to put all the backs on. Really fast, really simple, and really happy with the way they turned out. Now you could totally customize these. We're gonna paint both sides. Well, Rad and Summer are gonna paint both sides, but you could put chalkboard paint on here. You could put cork on there for a bulletin board, a whiteboard, a dartboard, whatever you want to do. Our next step is to install the tracks. So Rad picked up 50 feet of Unistrut this morning. What was it, Rad? $25 a piece, something like that?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Not bad at all, but Unistrut hardware is off the charts. So we're gonna build our own. We have a list made. We're gonna head to the store, get all the hardware we need to install the track and hang the doors. We'll see you right back here in just a minute. Hey guys, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Hungry Root. What's Hungry Root? It's basically like an online grocery store. You get the groceries you want delivered right to your door. And it doesn't end there. They also provide recipes for the items you selected. And their focus is on easy to make meals. Hungry Root sent us this awesome box full of awesome fresh vegetables, snacks, and ready to make meals. So planning, shopping, and cooking meals takes a lot of time and a lot of work, but Hungry Root takes all that out of the equation. And your Hungry Root cart is like a smart cart. It learns what you like and don't like, and it gets smarter every time you order. And another way that Hungry Root helps you out is all the recipes can be paired in 15 minutes or less. Another big time saving. We're working here at Summer and Rad's house. The nearest restaurants are 15 minutes away. We can just open the fridge, make our lunch, and save all that time, and it's a lot healthier for us. We had stuffed peppers, one of my personal favorites, and the next day we had some grass-fed burgers with some potatoes. All the food is awesome, as well as all the snacks. So guys, if you're tired of fast food, check out Hungry Root. And for a limited time, you're gonna get 40% off your first box and a free item in each box for life. It's a great deal. 40% off your first box and a free item in each box for life. Use the link below or go to hungryroot.com and use the code STUDPACK at checkout. We are back from the store, successful store run. And here is what our challenge was. We have 10-foot sections of Unistrut. I know it comes in 20s, but the electrical supply house here didn't have 20-footers. And regardless, we would have had splices anyway. Now you can buy splices for Unistrut. They're pretty clunky. They go on the outside and they're expensive. So we didn't want clunky, we didn't want expensive, and we didn't want to wait for them because we had to order them. So we're going to do it ourselves. The other challenge is the trolley takes up all of the room inside the track. So if we were to try to put an internal splice or a splice plate on the top, the trolley's going to crash into that. And they also make a bracket that holds 2 tracks on a wall. So you got an angle iron and 2 clamps that clamp on to 2 pieces of Unistrut when it's in bypass mode for a trolley. But they are $65 each. And again, we got to order them. And we don't want to do that. So we're going to build everything ourselves, and we got all the hardware we needed for $52. So let's head on in the garage and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We already got our laser set up right here, and we're simply going to grab a 2x4, and the laser represents the bottom of the 2x4. So we're going to screw the 2x4 to our uprights, which are also 2x4s, with a 6-inch structural screw. Then we're going to attach our track right here with a screw that is small enough so the head of the screw doesn't hit the trolley, but the screw's strong enough to hold up all the weight. Very first step, attach the 2x4. Let's get started. We got the 10-footer almost complete. We put a little cleat here right on our laser, so we're not up here trying to fight that board. We just set it on our cleats and screw it in. Oh, look, Rad, a ping pong ball. This is why we need doors up here. Now, we're real close to the end of this 2x4 with our structural screw. I don't want to split it, so I've got a really long drill bit. We're just going to pre-drill a little bit so we don't split that 2x. That's probably all I need. Drive it in. Nice. All right, that's really strong, guys. Now, so here's the plan. The 2 tracks are going to screw right here, and our doors are just going to hang straight down. Couldn't get any easier. Let's put an 8-footer here, an 8-footer behind Rad. We're ready for some track. 2x4s are all done, so let me mock it up for you real quick. Our Unistrut's going to screw to the bottom of the 2x4. You can see our laser beam now. We're perfectly level, and the trolley just goes right in there. We left a gap on the right end behind you so we can load all the trolleys in. Now, how are we going to attach the Unistrut to the 2x4? We're going to use an 1.5-inch cabinet screw. If this will hold up a cabinet full of your wife's favorite china, it's going to hold up the Unistrut and our very light doors. Now, we can't go through the slot because the head of the screw is too small, or it's too big, or whatever I'm trying to say. But anyway, you know that won't work. And we can't put a washer under it because then the trolley will crash into the washer. So we're going to drill a hole here, skip 6 slots, drill another hole, and go the whole 10 feet down. And while I'm doing that, that's going to put them up. All right, we're almost done with the back track. I got to cut this 10-footer in half. We're going to use our Milwaukee grinder. Had a viewer comment I should be wearing a full face mask. They're absolutely right. Appreciate the reminder. I actually had a bench grinder wheel come apart on me when I was a teenager, and I was wearing a face mask, and I know it made all the difference. So face mask down, here we go. track's all done. That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And if you can look at the track, the distance between the track and the ceiling, we know the track's perfectly level, right? But look at the ceiling. It's going like this. So definitely want to put a valance up there. And now we can attach a valance to the 2x4 that the track is attached to. Just scribe it like we did in the kitchen cabinets, will be awesome. Now let's go out here to the door. We're actually ready to hang one of the doors. I want to get one up today. So we got our trolleys and we're going to bolt it to the door. I was thinking, you know, 1/4-inch carriage bolts, but then I need a spacer for here. And by the time I do all that and get a washer, it was just easier, guys, to get a 1/2-inch carriage bolt. It's going to fit perfectly. And that's going to look nice from the outside, right? Kind of industrial looking like our track is. And one nut on the back. I don't need a washer. So we're going to drill the hole here, slide our trolleys on the track, then we can bolt our door to the trolley. Now, the one thing that I don't have that I really want, I want some adjustment in the door so they hang straight. But I don't have any. But I think if I over drill this hole just a little bit, I'll have the adjustment I need. But let's hang one of the doors and see what it looks like. So we want our trolley 8 inches from the end. It's just something we determined. It can be whatever you want, really. So that line is 8 inches. I'm going to use my automatic center punch, 1 3/16 down from the top edge. Mark the wood. Got a piece of lumber underneath with my clamp so we don't blow it out. I'm going to start small with my drill bit, work my way up. Ooh, that one's sharp. Yep, let's hang a door. First door is ready to go. Let's put in our trolleys. Nice. I've been wanting to do this for so long. One door coming in. All right, you get up there and get that bolt in first.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah, you'll see it pull down that head of the bolt. Nice. All right, first door is up, and that was really simple. So it's been all about the ping pong ball, right? The ping pong ball cannot roll under the door. Let's try it. Yeah! We did it. So as you can see behind me, the sun's going down, but we know the system's gonna work. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll put up the other 5, where we're gonna build our own track so the bottoms all guide together. All right, guys, we're back on site the next day. And remember yesterday I said I don't have any adjustment in the rollers to adjust the doors if I had to? Well, turns out I don't have to. I set up my Klein laser here and check it out right here. We're splitting the beam on the rail or the stile and the panel. So pretty cool. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna hang the other 5 doors. That's gonna be really fast. And then we're gonna make a custom guide to track the bottoms of the doors. I got it all in my head. Let's see if we can make it happen. All the doors are up and look how great that looks. All their stuff is behind the doors and easily accessible. If I need to get to the workbench, it's right in the middle, right here. Rad's gonna clean all that up later. And if you notice from your vantage point, all the stiles overlap. So from back there, all you see is stiles. You don't see 2 stiles when they're fully closed. You see 1 just like it should be. So how do we do all that math? We have 7 stiles, 1 on each end and these 5 in the middle. Each stile is 3.5 inches wide. 7 times 3.5 is 24.5 right here. So 304 inches, that's the total width of the garage, minus 24.5 is 279.5. That's the combined width of all the plywood panels. I got 6 of them. 279.5, let's see what that is. 279.5 divided by 6 is just over 46.5 inches. We rounded up to 46 5/8 right there. Times 6, add it all together, we're 1/4 inch long, which is fine for a garage door application. That's how we did the math to make sure the doors completely covered our opening and it looked like it was intentional that all the stiles completely overlapped. Our next step is to build our guides on the bottom. Be a great project for a 3D printer. I don't have one, so we're gonna make them out of wood. You can see right here, I've already got a sketch. Let's head outside, get them built. Very first thing, I need 2 strips of this 1/2 inch Baltic birch, 3.5 inches wide. So this piece is gonna be cut into little squares, and that's what's gonna go on our floor. And then my door guides are gonna be cut out of this piece, 1.5 inches wide, but I wanna put a little bevel on them to help guide those doors into our guides as they bypass each other. I've got my saw set up. Let's cut some bevels. Making our little floor guides. We are making our little floor guides for our doors. So this is kind of how it's going to look. The doors will bypass right here. We got this middle piece to cut, and we're going to cut that out of a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. So just kind of making this up as we go. The bevels, the angles, all that's just like whatever I think it ought to be. Nothing really set in stone. The only thing that is set in stone is the distance from the back of this guide to the back of this guide. And that distance is the same as the width of the unistrut, which is 1 5/8. So if we have two pieces of 1 5/8 channel like that, the backs of both channels is going to be 1 5/8 apart. Of course, the fronts are also that distance, and anything we hang from those tracks are also going to be the same distance. So that's working out great. I got my saw set up to cut that little middle piece. Let's rip a center divider. All right, there's my little wooden prototype for a bypass door homemade guide. We're gonna make all these out of wood, and if it works, we're gonna send these to a friend of ours and he can make them out of plastic. The wood ones might last a while and they may not, I don't know, but we're just gonna glue them and pin nail them together and get them installed so that we continue with our project and the doors don't hit each other. Let's finish this guide, see how it works. Got our guides made, so we're putting them in. I got this one in already. We're just using the doors to space them, right? And they always line up with the stiles. So I've got this one where it goes. I'm just gonna put a mark on the right and the left and move my doors out of the way. And it just so happens that the back of our guide perfectly lines up with the front of our shelf. So I'm just eyeballing that. Put it between my marks. Get everything square, then I'll trace it. And we're using 3/16 Tapcons. Got the proper size bit. Here we go. We're going to screw one side down so it doesn't move, then drill the other side. There we go. All the door guides are installed, and this system works great. Absolutely love the way it turned out, like I said before. Just got to line them up a little because this plywood is not flat. But man, that looks great. Really, really happy with that. Really didn't show you a close-up of the guide we made, but there it is. If it turns out that these wood ones get banged up, like I said, just have some made on a 3D printer by one of our buds. And the only really improvement I could see making, maybe for next time or maybe at your place, you could actually have this shelf project farther out, and then you could mount your guides on the shelf. So you don't have to mount them to concrete. But then, of course, your guide's going to be in front of something you want to take off. But it's just kind of a trade. You got to figure out what you want the most. And as it turns out, this one is actually an extra because it ended up right in front of the workbench where we're going to be sliding everything in and out. So we didn't want one right here, so we just omitted it, and they still work absolutely fantastic. So now that all the doors are installed, check out how nicely they operate. They operate. Now they are a little loud, and that was kind of surprising to us, but here's why. I have a scrap of unistrut right here. This edge right here is actually the edge that the rollers are rolling on. It has a slight serration to it, so that's what's making the noise. And it's serrated so that unistrut hardware, all the nuts, clips, have something to grab onto and it doesn't slip. So they're gonna actually take these doors down to paint them. And so in the meantime, I might try to find them some nylon rollers, which would be a whole lot quieter. Now we put up 2 tracks and we have 6 doors. So that means we have access to 50% of our storage, right? We can take these 3, slide them all the way to the left, these 3, slide them all the way to the right, or any combination in between. So the more tracks you have, the more access you have. So if you had 6 tracks, you could push all 6 doors all the way down here and have access from where I am all the way down. It just comes down to your budget and how much time and money you're willing to spend on all the tracks. So if your like button is surrounded by a bunch of stuff, now you can hide it, build some sliding doors, open them, smash the like button, and then close it just like that. And while you're right there at the like button, please hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber to our channel already. And if you're looking for more Stud Pack, you can find us on Instagram at StudPackOfficial. And we have a second channel, Stud Pack 2, where it's more behind the scenes, a casual view of the Stud Pack life. Guys, thanks so much for all the love and support. We'll see you right back here on our very next Stud Pack video.